What a comedy club GM wishes comedians knew: when to move to the coast, how to approach the business side of comedy, and more. And you're dyslexic. What the wait, move the mouse. Hey, let me see what you wrote there, you piece of garbage. One of the first things I remember seeing from Dave after him leaving Chappelle Show and all that controversy.
Maybe mother brings him to a room and says, this $50 million, this pile of money, it's all for you. And when you try to grab it, it just throws the dick right up.
There's a saying that I learned: some people have to learn through taste. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, yo, no! Why would you ruin the episode like that?
Hey, it's Hen Dog.
Black Zeus the Podcast Season 6, featuring Black Zeus and Dante, aka Black Zeus on YouTube, Patreon, and Instagram. All right, I'm done.
Yeet. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Black Zeus the Podcast. I am him. I am Black Zeus, but not Illuminati Zeus. At least not yet. Dun, dun, dun. You are the beautiful people. This is Black Zeus the Podcast, Season 6, Episode 15. I've asked now 30 times, so I should remember. Yes, we're going to get right on into things because there's a lot of stuff to do outside of the studio today. Shows and all that good stuff. I hope you guys had a good week. I hope your next week is even better than your last week. It's going to be a nice chill episode. There shouldn't be any controversy, which is weird because this is just where we come week to week to just talk comedy and our own thoughts. They don't matter. Let's just start every episode now with nobody's opinion matters. Welcome, sons of bitches. I am slightly baked, so we'll see how this episode goes. I'm terrible. This episode sucks. I'm just going to get right on into things, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring the guy on in right now. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's do a little housekeeping. Go check out the latest episode of Black Zeus the Show. Parts A and B have fully dropped, so if you haven't already, go check that out. Full interview with the owner, president, and the creator of Canada's only national chain of comedy clubs, Yuck Yucks, Mark Breslin. Great episode. There's some of me doing some comedy and some interviews and all that good stuff. As always, go check that out. New clips on the channel all over the place. If you haven't looked at those, go check those out. New comedy clips. Go watch Dante's channel, Person One Productions on YouTube. Go support live comedy wherever you are, because you know the next Dave Chappelle or whoever your favorite is, the next one of those is right around the corner, and they just need your support. And you know what? Way better live. But wait till after this. You know what I'm saying? Let me get my Ethiopian forehead nice and tucked away. Tucked away. And let's get the number one producer in the game back into the mix, ladies and gentlemen. He's so good. He's here on a show with me week to week where nobody knows us. But that's okay, because that's slowly changing. And most importantly, our skills are slowly gaining. Why am I yelling? Ladies and gentlemen, Dante's in the studio. Gojira! What's going on, my nig?
not much.
How you living?
Blessed and highly
It's a
favored.
good week for you. I don't know if you want to talk about it or...
What?
It's a good week for you, no?
All weeks are good weeks for me, brother.
All right, then we'll just skip over why this week in particular is a good week for you. Are you really lost as to what I'm trying to say?
Is it because it's my birthday?
Hey! Gling, gling, gling. You have no idea, like that's now the bell in my head. You f***ed my life up. It's over. I don't know what Binu. Who makes a bell noise? Binu.
It's Bilu.
Well, happy birthday, bro.
Thank you.
You an old man now? Almost. Not officially, but you getting there.
I'm getting older.
Yeah. This nigga shrugs his shoulder. All in green. Heart chakra. I'm a high. If you can't. A heart chakra. Write that down. That might be the episode of the
Heart chakra.
Yeah, heart chakra. That's not gonna be it. Yeah, how you living, bro?
I'm good. Blessed and highly favored.
How's your week been? You've been doing do you big birthday guy? You care anymore? Do you like to make a big deal of it or a deal at all or
Not really.
not really?
No. It's just chill, you know. We just go for dinner with the fam.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Now that you're in the comedy game, like I remember early on there would be times where I'm like, oh, I want to make sure I get a show on my birthday, or even there'd be times where I'd produce a show, like on an odd time I'd produce a show on my birthday, but it's like, I don't know, now it just all bleeds into everything else. Where are you at? Are you trying to like get stage time? Like, are you trying to mark the day with something outside of just obviously family stuff is great.
Yeah.
But you know, you're in the game.
Well,
You're in the
tomorrow I'm going to be hanging out with Jared Nathan and crew at Comedy Bar Danforth. They're doing a 420 show. So they asked me to come out, hang out. I'll probably do like 5 minutes or something. Not guaranteed, but I would assume.
And okay. Big year for 420 this year. Not is it just your birthday, it's Hitler's birthday.
It's always been.
It's always well, not always, but at some point in
since he
history
was born.
started. Yeah, there you go. Well, definitely since before yours. Where is this going? It's Easter Sunday.
Yep.
Is 420 is not always Easter Sunday, is it?
No.
Yeah, right? Because Easter Sunday is what, like the second, or no, not the second.
I don't know.
It's something. We're not
So
really.
it's around April
we're not.
time.
We're not about it like that. We're about it, but not about it like that. We're not Catholics. Have to think. Nope. Nope. WrestleMania weekend.
Yep.
Yeet. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's
It's also 420.
I said that.
Did you?
Yeah, I definitely started. I
you
said
did.
not only 420, Hitler's
Oh, okay.
birthday.
Okay, yeah.
Da 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 da. You know,
Yeah.
the whole. But you don't even smoke weed anymore.
No.
Yeah, I don't even. Do people still look at 420 as a thing? Like,
Yeah.
are people really?
Yeah. People.
I guess I'm real. I'm a boring old man.
Yeah.
I still smoke weed, but I'm like, I'm not.
Every day is 420 when you're Zeus.
See, but I don't go around saying that. See, but I don't go around saying that. I would even say my smoking habits are way less. I don't think there's ever been a time in my life. No, that's a lie. When I was like a teenager, early 20s maybe. It stopped early 20s where I was like 420, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Because yeah, it is kind of like when you're a pothead, bro. Every day is 420.
Yeah.
And
420 is really for the non-smokers.
yes, it's yes. You don't get Simpsons reference. Really, Aurora Borealis, localized entirely within your kitchen. Yes, that was spot on. Yeah, old man. Anyways, let's get into this show because this whole thing sucks. This episode sucks. There you go, YouTube commenter. You manifested this one. You manifested this. Heart chakra. Let's get into what this show is actually about and talk some comedy recap, ladies and gentlemen. Week to week, Dante and myself, we come here, we recap what we've been up to in the world of comedy, shows, adventures, new jokes, things that we've been up to in the world of comedy. Dante, do you get up to any shows last week?
I was on a book show this Wednesday.
What the hell is that?
That's the actual one.
If I was on like real drugs right now, wow, that would be wild.
It's because you're an old man. You don't get the reference.
What reference is it? How old am I? This sounds like some. You actually gonna pull it up? Do it again.
Vilo, vilo, vilo.
Is this like a kid show?
Movie.
Okay, so this would have been a kid show that you grew up with, I'm imagining. And once again, we're not the same age. You call me old all the time, you piece of garbage. I hate you. I can't just be pulling it up and not letting me see the Despicable Me. All right, you can stop this before we get flagged. All right, fair enough. How old are you when you first watched that?
I don't know. I have to look up when it came out. Do you want to waste time doing that?
No, but I feel like, how old is that movie? Now I do want to know that. Just type is that the first Despicable Me?
I think so, yeah.
Because I was about to really date myself, but you know what? It is an old movie.
It is. It's at least 10 years.
Older than that. Man, that's how you search shit? Why did you not just Google how old is this movie? You are the weirdest human being to me. Do your thing. Do your thing. I'm just cranky old Zeus over here. This nigga, didn't you make fun of me, call me the nigga that would Google, and you IMDb'd instead of just Googling when did this movie come out?
How do you spell despicable?
And you're dyslexic. What the wait, move the mouse. Hey, let me see what you wrote there, you piece of garbage. Let me see that shit. Move the mouse. Whoa, holy shit. Despicable? That's the name of the episode right there. What the fuck is that? Despicably.
There's no space. How do you spell despicable?
All right. I can't believe we actually went this deep into it.
2010.
2010. Okay, so 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we can get all the way out of this. Whew. So comedy.
Yes.
This episode sucks.
I was on a book show.
Yeah.
First time performing at Tammy's Wine Bar, Parkdale area. 2 weeks ago, I did the open mic there, but they do it in the basement for open mic. And then from the open mic, I got booked to do their regular show, which is on the upstairs area.
How was the show?
It went pretty well.
You just described like the venue.
Not to say what I'm giving you the lore.
Thank you. But like I'm like, okay, like a decent turnout.
And
how'd you do, boo boo? How'd you do?
I think I did pretty good. Like, I'd give myself 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
I respect it.
5, closer to 5.
I respect it. Honest.
There was maybe like a handful of audience, and then a lot of comics that never saw me before.
Yeah.
So I got like I got some pretty big laughs, and I went up after a comic that was like a lot more experienced than me. So
that's great.
Yeah,
more of that. Yeah, man. I love those little like sink or swim moments.
Yeah.
And did you get like jittery or like nervous or anything? Because like, did they have a good set before you? I'd imagine they did.
Well, they were trying out newer stuff.
Well,
they're trying out newer stuff. Like they got laughs, but it was mostly newer stuff. Where I'm working on like a 5-minute.
You've been
set.
doing this material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been honing it, you know?
And it hit, but you still only give yourself a 5 or 6.
Yeah, because no one's dying on the ground yet.
I respect that.
That's when, because we do Kevin Samuels rules,
that,
no
yeah.
sevens.
No sevens.
That gap from 6 to 8, like people are dying. Yo, stop! It hurts. That's 8.
I respect that. That's good company. Keep myself in good company. People that like you got to keep yourself up to that kind of standard. Sorry, I'm blowing my nose already. Oh my god. Oh, you do drugs, Zeus. Just weed, bro. I'm telling you, I just got bad allergies and I don't dust the studio. I really should. You think I would, but I still ain't gonna do it. No, I really should, because look at this shit. Oh, that wasn't even bad. You know what? I just got shit allergies.
But yeah, so 5 to 6, closer to 5.
When would you say is the last time you hit above an average, like hit above a 5.6? When's the last time you like? And again, obviously, it's for your level right now.
Yeah.
So for where you're at right now, like, what would you call to be like, this is an 8 or above for me? Is this set?
When I did the Milton show.
The Milton show, okay.
Because I had people banging on the table.
Quit banging on the damn furnace.
Yeah. With laughter.
That's crazy for a mic too, like the turnout they get.
Yeah.
Goes to show small town shows, man.
Yep.
It's not always like, get yourself, if you're a comic in a big city, take yourself outside of that scene for a bit and you will thrive too.
Yeah, I did notice that because I hang around with like a lot of the Toronto comedians.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys should come out to Hamilton sometime. They're like, go to Hamilton.
What?
Yeah.
That's why I love, to me, I think I love the strategy. And that's why even when we went to Texas, I love that we were in San Antonio and then had the car. Because it really clicked in my brain. I'm like, this is the drive from San An to Austin is the drive Hamilton to Toronto.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same distance.
With much better roads.
Better roads and better just opportunity.
Yeah. Better
Like
traffic.
imagine just the next day you could potentially get spotted or seen or whatever. Like land yourself a spot on a really known club. I was just like, oh damn, bro. There's a circuit. And right now I'm starting to talk to some of the guys from across the country. Like, so like, bro, I don't know. Let's, I guess, do you have more you want to say in your recap?
Yeah. So Thursday went to CFTA.
Yeah.
Had another one of those moments where I had to follow someone that was bringing the heat. And I was like, yeah. Like, I know I do better when I'm following someone like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm not one to
I know exactly what you mean, bro. To me, that's tricks at Nubian. I would watch him.
Yeah.
People just smack it, like literally smacking the wall, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, until I do that, I don't consider myself anything.
Like, same.
You gotta get like just a couple of those in you, to feel like, damn.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, continue.
So, and he was doing really well at CFTA. Like, I was dying of laughter. Everyone was dying of laughter. Like, he was, and then I'm like, oh snap, I'm next. You know what I mean? I went up and I did my thing. Obviously, it didn't get to that level.
It's also tougher for you in that room because that's your room. You're there every week, working on the same set.
Yeah.
Like, it's variations of it, sure, because you're working it out. But like those people, was that guy there? Like the one who went before you? Is that he's there?
Yeah, you know Larry Smith.
That name rings a bell, but
he's like older guy.
Is he one of the two guys? There's two old guys that hang out together.
He was hilarious too. You're talking about Joey Charles.
Okay,
but he was funny too. He went
Okay.
up before me. He went up in like a character. He went up as like Trump's long lost son, daughter, or something like that. Like he was wearing like a dress, and he's like, "I'm the Trump." But that was hilarious too. But Larry Smith, he was one of the guys that said he went to do like circus training and stuff like that. I don't know if you remember. He said that one time.
Okay.
When you were there. But anyways, so he was going up. He was doing really well. And then I went up. And that one I would say I had like a 6, 6 out of 10 set. Like people still weren't like banging on, but like people were laughing. I went up with some riffs. Like I went up like, oh, you were talking about this. And then I hit him with the, the quick 1-2. And then I went into the riff about the joke that I usually do about space, and then the women that went up to space, and then that hit. And then I went into the newer stuff that I've been working on.
How you feel about the progression of your 5'7"?
I like it.
Do you feel like you feel confident, like to stand behind it? Someone says, "Yo, go up right now, do 5 to 7."
I stand on my 5 to 7.
That's good. How are you getting like to the next spot? Like, how are you slowly working your way to the 10?
Well, because
are you still working in halves? Like 2 5s?
Well, so what happened last week is that the one joke that I was working on took me longer, right? So I went up, I said like I went too long. I went to like 6 minutes, which to me is terrible. Like never. never do that.
Yeah.
You know? But that just shows me, I'm like, okay, if that's a 6-minute set and I only did like 2-3 jokes,
There's room.
there's room. And now, because I didn't do the last 2 jokes that I normally do, so now I'm closer to like 7-8.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So
You feel yourself like slowly getting there.
yeah, so I got
You need like 1-2 more jokes.
and then I'll work on that. And then I'll 1 week, or like if I do multiple sets a week, one set I'll do this one, and then one I'll do here, and I'll work on both of them. And then once I get asked to do 10
What's your
minutes.
average amount of sets? Like you're hitting up, I feel like multiple mics a week now.
Minimum 2 now.
Okay.
Minimum 2 Canvas, and then CFTA.
Always CFTA, yeah.
And then I try and go to the feedback mic at Backroom
On Mondays?
on Mondays.
Yeah.
But and I also like the workshop. I don't count it as a mic, but it's like I'm learning a lot there. You know?
You're really active.
Yeah.
Like I would say you're active.
Yeah.
The workshop counts.
Yeah.
It's time spent in
And
comedy class essentially.
comedy boot camp.
Yeah.
Another milestone alert. I will be doing my first hosting spot at the show. So it's gonna be at Blackhurst Cultural Center, like a different book list where
Yeah?
they do the workshop. So they're doing a show, and I'm gonna be hosting the show.
That's damn.
And
is that gonna be a Monday?
It's a Friday.
A Friday.
Yeah.
What time though?
7 May 2nd.
Okay.
And so Kenny,
Damn.
and this is something that he told me that I need to work on,
Mm-hmm.
especially for a hosting gig. He says, you got to get your energy up, bruh.
Presence.
You know? Not presence, but like, I'm very chill when I'm on
Yeah.
stage. But as a hosting spot, I have to bring up the energy more.
That to me
So-
is presence.
How so?
Like you could be commanding the room. You have to have some sort of presence about you.
Oh, like you have to be a presence, not being present
Yeah,
on
yeah.
stage.
Not just
Okay.
being present. Yeah.
Okay,
like I
okay.
know you're there.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas like it's that extra.
Yeah.
It's like to wrestling. What's your character? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or what about you are you accentuating? Or what do you
Yeah.
want to turn? Like that's what really it is. Is like
Yeah.
what about me?
Can
Do
I
I
turn
mix?
up a
Yeah.
little bit?
Turn this up to 11. Turn this down because I don't really. It doesn't help for what
Yeah.
I'm trying to get across or whatever.
So that's another thing that I've been working on is bringing up the energy that I have on stage.
Do you feel natural with it though?
Because
Because that always takes a minute.
yeah, so I'm working it up in like natural increments. Like I'm not like, hey guys, you know what I mean? Like I'm not.
Oh, brother.
I'm not doing that, but like I am a little bit more animated and like going off with the jokes and stuff like that. So
I definitely would say comedy's like brought you out of your shell.
yeah, I mean you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to. What's so funny about that?
Yo, you were so quick to. I'm gonna do it instant replay. Yeah. Oh shit, that was so funny. I am high. That's right there. I'm high. Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely, because you have to be on
Good for
stage,
you, dog.
you know, and I'm not like I can't be shy and timid on stage anymore. I have to be more open, more loud, and more
Yes.
energetic.
Yes.
So that's another beeloo, 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 beeloo.
Yeah. Hopefully, I guess I'll say it on wax to actually like put the pressure on. But hopefully, we should be out west like later this year. We'll talk about that later. But like, we'll actually need to lock in
Sure.
a date. Talking to some of the OGs out there. And I guess I'll talk about this on my recap because I had a show cancel. And yeah, I'll be at a show tonight. So I don't really have much, honestly, in terms of actual performance this week.
Are you even in comedy, bruh?
That's fine, man. I'm not.
It's been like 8 weeks of me just carrying the recap.
I've literally been talking about shows I've been doing.
I know.
Yeah, like you think, nigga, you have all this weird flex ego. I'm just out here doing comedy. I don't need to do a show every night. I'm still a comic. No, no, but I've been thinking it like because I've been trying to gear more towards like what I don't know, because I'm obviously a weirdo, But like I kept myself out of certain, not even necessarily just markets, but just opportunities and stuff.
Okay.
And part of it, like, there's so many different layers to this. Is like the initial layer was I always wanted to make sure I built the skill before I started, which is whatever that's some ego in there before I really checked all of that. Like, why not go get new experiences as I'm still building up?
Yeah.
And then like being a comedian later on, you hear it's like, man, you should have just moved to New York or whatever, like at the beginning, because you're gonna have to start all over again anyways.
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff. I've kept myself from like really traveling. There's like a part of fear when I've assessed all these things already. So it's like, I've already checked these things, but I haven't really started implementing like a wider scope of a game plan. I'm still kind of like locked into building this channel and all this stuff. But like, nah, nigga, it's like I want to go touch the world now, like, and do comedy around the world. And I feel like we could just do that. Like now I feel actually so supremely confident to touch a microphone anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
As long as it's an English speaking crowd
Yeah.
or they like, you know, an English show, I think I could do well there. Man, I wish there was something here like The Hostel, the show. And I've talked about it on the podcast before, but just to reiterate, like when I first started, for the first like few years, there was a show in Toronto at a hostel, and it was weekly or monthly, or I can't remember. And the guy who ran it doesn't even do comedy anymore. Like he's off doing other successful stuff. And the show was so amazing because every time you would do the show, there would only be like 10 to 20% of the people that were local. And then everybody else was just from around the world. There'd be, and then you just ask, where are you guys from? And you get, I'm from the and then it's like, I'm from Spain.
Yeah.
And just like having to bounce between that, I know for sure made me a stronger comic. Like it puts you on your toes in a way that, you know, unless you're actually like that's where you'll get it obviously the most is traveling and doing that around the world. And I love the challenge of that, and I want to actually like experience that on a wider scope. Big ups to homegirl Aaliyah Kanani.
Yeah.
Let me salute Aaliyah Kanani right now. And Natish. They both just touched stage at the Comedy Store main stage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so like Natish, like both these people, but like Aaliyah she's done things so her own way. I get like proud when I talk about how she had her come up, bro. She wasn't the strongest when we were all coming up, but she just really kept at it. And she just always kind of did things her own way. And then one year she just bounced. She was in Australia.
Yes.
And I just remember like, damn, she just bounced.
Yeah.
And then just slowly, this girl's like, okay, she's in Australia again. Dope. Like, but then all of a sudden, like, she'd be in England, and then she'd be like here, and then she's like, I just ran into her like at the Real Jerk. We did a show together.
Yep.
You were there that
I was
night?
there.
Yeah, we filmed an episode that night. Yeah.
Yeah. We have an interview with her.
From that night.
No.
Yes.
No.
Are you sure? Oh, we're from Yucks, from a
Yucks.
Nubian night.
Yes.
So that interview will get out eventually. But just to, like, I was just like, man, I'm so proud of you. You know? And she's like, yeah, and I'm going here next and here next. And then just to see her the other day, make that post. And she's like, yo, I'm doing the main stage and da-da-da-da. And shout out to this person for helping me get here. Da-da-da. But just knowing, like, when I got into this, my goals literally, and I knew, like, and they were kind of broad in the sense of, get to a big stage, like a big stage of things. Like I looked at Chappelle and Patrice and like Bernie, and like those two for sure are crooked from my perspective. But if they're not from yours, it doesn't matter anymore.
Pretty low.
Yo, man, this weed is good because I'm telling you, if I took a level to those, doesn't matter anymore. This is OCD Zeus, ladies and gentlemen, just catching things that are not aligned. Doesn't matter. But I used to just be like, I want to do the things that the people that I grew up that inspired me were doing.
Yeah.
But the game changed, obviously, and that's what I'm figuring out real time. And we were kind of talking about this before we started recording. It's been really bombastic for me to get into comedy playing the game and being okay with it, being like, I want the Just Relax credits, and because I didn't know, I was just like this. I'm gonna take a little side tangent here for a second. I have to salute Craig Fax. I know this is so random because I was watching 5150 last week.
Yeah.
Shout out to 5150 Nation. Shout out to Corey,
Yeah.
D. But man, Craig is just as real gets. And I see so much of who I am as a person in who he says he is in the stories that he tells about his life. So he was saying on the recent episode of 5150, he's like, yo, straight up, I'm just a slow learner.
Oh, yes.
I learn things really slowly over time, but when I grasp it, you can't f with me on that thing anymore. And I'm paraphrasing.
Yes, I remember him saying that.
To hear him say that publicly, I swear to God, it made me realize how there's still parts of me. It's not necessarily like, I guess it's like repressed something. Because that is 100% who I am, bro. Like, I have been my entire life. Like, I've learned things really slow and usually through hard lessons.
Yes.
I have to learn it the hard way multiple times, but once I get it, you can't fuck. Just to hear him say that publicly, I swear, bro, it changed me.
It hit you.
It hit me.
Yeah.
So like, salutes Craig Fax, bro, because that really hit home.
Yeah. There's a saying that I learned. Some people have to learn through taste. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, yo, no. Why would you ruin the episode like that? You're like it's your birthday, you sick bastard.
no, like you learn through feel. You know what I mean? Like some people learn by seeing it, right? And like watching something.
100%.
You have to learn by like, if I hit you in the chest, then you're gonna feel. Now you're gonna actually know.
Well, that's how I learned in school too. So I wasn't like, you can't hand me a book and just be like, go read the thing.
Yeah.
If you like hand me some instructions and like give me an activity to do with it.
Yeah.
And actually get me to do the thing. Wow.
Yes.
But you know, that's a whole other.
Yeah, we won't get into that.
That's education. Oh my God. Education for minorities. Oh my God. But it just made me really like stop and reassess. I've already gotten over so many things, but there's always something that you forget to look at in a certain light. And that's one of those things. I'm like, yo, there's been so many opportunities that I just held myself back from by telling myself I'm either not ready, or if I'm being honest, there's always a level of fear, or there was. Like, I really had to work to get over these things. Like, me traveling should have happened so long ago, but there's so many things. It's like proximity to family and all this stuff is like, you know, if you're like a pillar for people in your life, it's hard to remove yourself. So there's so many factors.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, bro, like, I'm here to like let go and live, you know what I mean? And have these experiences. And I'm just grateful, at least now I know how ready I am. And even just looking at like going to Oklahoma, not being booked, but then like running into Russell through a connect and then just getting to friggin' be at a show with Russell.
Yeah.
Just like when it happens, it happens. When you're ready, you're ready.
Yep.
And you just got to make the move to align with the opportunity, because there's an opportunity somewhere out there with your name on it.
Yeah.
And every day you either say, I'll go meet it, or not today. And I guess I'm just done with the not today stuff. Like,
I don't get that one.
Not today. That's a meme. You should know that, Mr. Meme Guy.
Not today.
Yeah, not today. Not now. Damn, here's me showing my age. And this is from the origin of the internet. Here is dyslexic. you typed in not ute. No, it's okay, because I think you got it. That's it. Not today.
This
Lady? This is it. You remember this for sure.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Give me and my baby some breakfast, and she said, "Hey, something wrong, it's popping." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "No." So the girl come downstairs. She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, "Oh, girl, it's cold outside." She said, "Something ain't right." I said, "Oh man." She said, "Oh man, the building is on fire." I said, "No, what?" I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire. Not today.
Listen, ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah.
Holy,
Not
bro.
today.
Oh man, I love my peoples, but damn, they scare me sometimes. Not today. Like, is that a skit?
It looks like a skit.
I hope so. But that's gonna do it for this week's comedy recaps. Let's move on to another segment that we love. And sometimes you love it, and sometimes you hate it, ladies and gentlemen. If we talk shit about the people you love, they are just our opinions. They don't mean jack shit outside of these four walls. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Indies Comedy Skreets. Dante and myself get into some topics, some trending whatever posts, whatever. Mainly we just go to Reddit. I like to pretend like, and we go to Twitter and other places.
Well, today,
Jesus Christ.
today we get to go to Substack.
By way of Reddit though, let's not front.
Hey. It's still Substack, no.
Indies Comedy Skreets, ladies and gentlemen. Dante and myself find the latest topics, trends, whatever topics of interest, conversation pieces in the world of comedy, and we give our 2 cents. And and you feel however you feel. You go ahead and feel, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, none of this means shit. I really turned into Sanford and Son right there. So we're gonna start here with a really interesting the header, I guess. It got my damn, bro, this sentence structure is garbage. I saw a headline that got my interest on Reddit, and I thought we would discuss it here on the podcast. It's on r/standup, posted by Berlin Skin. That's funny for some reason. What a comedy club general manager wishes comedians knew. This is from an article. We will go into the article a little bit, but he decided to highlight this for his post on Reddit. What a comedy club GM wishes comedians knew. When to move to the coast, how to approach the business side of comedy, and more. All right. And this is the excerpt from the I'm gassy. From the article. I'm gassy. That's a terrible soundbite. One more time. I'm gassy. This episode sucks. At least we admit when we shit. I don't know why that was so funny. For some reason, comics are like, and this is an excerpt from the article, by the way. So this is, I believe, the general manager talking. For some reason, comics are like, the art. I'm all about the art, but you need to be able to support yourself to do this art. You don't want to be making shit on Etsy when you're 55. You want to fund your actual career using your career. The business side is everything. Get great at your craft, but understand there are so many lanes where you can make money. I think a lot of it is just look at what people do that you like. Find whoever it is you like as a comic and study everything that they did. If you're a fan of Big J. Okerson, figure out what he did. He has 4 podcasts and a radio show. That's how he makes a lot of his money. Find somebody that you like and study their business side of it. Look at everybody. Read every book you can on comedy, the biographies, learn the pitfalls, read agents' books. You're getting into entertainment. You're getting into the industry. So learn it. You're going to be better off. You have to learn, and I think a lot of people just skip that side. Fantastic. I feel like he's talking directly to me when he says some people are just about the art.
Yeah, no, not. That's so funny. It says the art, and making stuff on Etsy when you're 55. Like, those two are like directly at you, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to be doing that. But you do hear me talking about trying to figure out the blend. You know what I mean?
100%.
And this is what I was saying earlier. I got in it being like, I'm with the game and I just want to go the natural route, like what he's talking. Well, I don't think he's also against what I'm doing. So I was more inclined to do all that stuff. And then, just the tap dancing of it all made me feel a certain way about myself. And then I'm in it like 10 years and I start to look around and I'm like, okay, some of my friends are getting but like, they're not the same people. They don't even like necessarily, not that they're better or worse, but they're not the same. And like the that we would talk about or whatever is like there's a lot of deviation, which again, I'm not that person, so who am I to make life decisions for them? But I felt the pull. I felt myself. There's one specific instance that really stood out to me, and it's not about naming or anything, but like it was a comedian that's kind of in my same class, and like, you know, we're coming up together, whatever. And he was kind of floundering, went away, came back, like went for like on a family trip or whatever, you know what I mean? Came back and like really connected with his roots and stuff. And once he started doing the comedy of that, got the festival.
Okay.
Like he was just like telling like the jokes he wanted to tell, came back, and it's not that he wasn't like, he was telling jokes that he wanted to tell, but now that they were all geared towards this is me and my culture and my people, and I went to my homeland, and then it's like he got that like immigrant spot on the festival the next year. And you know, they only got so many, they got 80 white spots, but they only got like so many ethnic spots. And you got to fill like the circle has to go in the circle hole and da 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 da. I was like, and then starting to get, and then I just remember like, okay, got that cred. And I saw this happen to so many people. You get that cred, and then you just come back, and then we're sitting in the same room, like wondering like what's happening for our careers and stuff. It's like we do all this tap dancing for things that we think are going to be the next evolutionary step in our career, and they take us nowhere. And it's like, but we've like given up so much of ourselves, our time, our effort in chasing that thing. Where it's like, I'm still very grateful, even though, you know, I kind of put the kibosh foolishly in some places, but I don't believe in coincidences. I'm telling you, bro, like when he's talking about study the game, before I even got in, this was what I was doing. And even reading that, I think this is kind of like me hearing Craig Facts. The part that sticks out to me isn't like some comics are like the art, because I know myself. And even though, yes, I'm very much about being an artist about comedy, like have respect and love for the craft, I still know it's the game.
Yeah.
We say it week to week, like our opinion is just our opinion. I have to function in this game. And what I haven't done, as much of that studying I did when I got in, I haven't really gone back and done like the production side of that studying. Like reading producers' books and stuff, because there's a lot of those. Yeah, I've been more in the metaphysical bag on books. Is like, that actually gives me a little bit of a new itch I have to scratch now. Like, let me go actually study that side of the game. Because I've always paid attention to like every aspect of it. Truly. Like some of these weird things that we've talked about that when I got in, I'm like, I paid more attention to transitions. I was more interested in seeing how to get from joke to joke seamlessly before I was interested in like, let me make sure all the jokes are bangers, which is kind of a wild approach to take to comedy. But like, I always knew that like the comedy is the comedy.
Yeah.
There was parts of it that I was just more interested in figuring out first, and I thought would help, which did, honestly, to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just so nuanced, bro. It's so layered.
Well, do you want to check the comments, or do you want to check the
This one
the
actually
Substack?
this one hits home to me because I'm very much in the middle of this. Like I'm in this part. I promise you, bro, I told myself when I started, I know I'm not gonna pop until I'm 40.
Okay.
Like I'm very naively realistic. Like I'm naive enough to like I don't even know how to fully describe that. But I think the naivete comes from just my slow learning curve. You know, like I was explaining earlier, it takes me a while to really grasp things.
Mm-hmm.
So already, I think before I knew that I was being as honest with myself as I was naively being honest with myself by telling myself I'm not going to pop until I'm 40.
Okay.
But what I was doing, because the study phase of it all, when I was in my car accident and literally like where these Curb DVDs came from, all like the Chappelle show I already had, but like when I was studying everything, when he says watch and read stuff of people you don't like, I did that. I watched everything. Comedians I didn't like, comedians I didn't know, comedians that people recommended, and people I loved, obviously, all of it. And what I realized, some of the things that really stuck out to me the most, and this leads into a whole other rabbit hole, bro, of where I lost a lot of my time and energy and effort, was the sex, drugs, and rock and roll aspect of the game. What I noticed was the most successful people, the people that I really looked up to and that had like meant something, not just to me, but to a lot of people and to the game of comedy, these guys,
Yeah.
they had stability.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is they had family structure at home. A lot, dude, Chappelle was married when he was like 19. Like he had a wife,
Yeah.
you know? And you hear a lot of the guys when they're just running out there. And then I experienced that. So it's like, this is where I say I'm a slow learner. I knew this going in, but instead of like being like, I know this, avoid it, I just went head first and I experienced it.
Yeah.
And I lost.
Let me see if I'm wrong.
I lost years. When I moved to Toronto, bro, the move was go to Toronto. Then from there, I proved to myself, okay, I can move down the road and make a go at this, progress, make more inroads, and then go to New York or LA or whatever. Austin wasn't even a thing at the time.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened. So like there was so many, but the time I spent in Toronto, I could have, and realistically I should have, moved so much further along in the game. But where I'm kind of grateful about having not done that is I was still very much, I need to get my Just for Laughs credit, and then I need to go this route and this route. And I would have probably been stuck making memes and friggin' doing all that instead of actually sitting down with myself and just seeing all the noise that's happening around me and seeing literally, like, I know it sounds pretentious or whatever to say I'm watching people like lose themselves, and I can't really fully say that, but I know the conversations and the sentiments of the people that were in my direct class coming into the game when we came together. We're like, we want this and this and this. And then just seeing so many people stray from that because the easier route is like make a sketch or make a thing that you get, and you see it. So I've been battling that because I truly am an art guy. But art. I love you, bro. You're a piece of garbage, but like I can only hang out with pieces of garbage. But I am also, because I've always been I've been a business guy. I was just so tapped into and focused into like the traditional route of things where I didn't even realize and stop and realize like, yo, the route of it is whatever you make. Like you build your own skill and your audience. And yeah, so like that is a way, but the way that we're being, you know, the building your audience thing now is where I've also been having, but I'm working on that.
Yes.
You know, I'm not just trying to be out here being like this, but bro, if you have no respect for or love, like deep love for the craft of comedy, then I don't to do at all. It doesn't, but that doesn't matter anyways. What does that matter?
Yep.
It's like, let's read a little bit of the article because that was just the Reddit post. But this is the actual article on a Substack, which is, you know, modern day blog BS. But Chicago this weekend, a 2021 interview with Brian Morton, the general manager of Zanies Old Town in Chicago, in the Comedy Gazelle is filled with gems, some excerpts below. What kind of advice would you give to a newer comic that can't get on stage at a club? How do you develop material as someone who's just starting out? And this is his answer. I think you just have to do it. It all depends on how bad you really want it. What do you want out of comedy is a huge question. A lot of people don't really ask themselves. Yes, bro. I've actually been saying this to some of the newer people recently. I've been making an effort. Like, honestly, bro, like the things that I didn't get that I wish like people were just more human and would reach out and let you know is like, yo, I see this in you.
Yeah.
Make sure you protect that going forward. I literally said to someone the other day, Like, bro, not just me, the entire community clearly sees something like very special about you.
Yeah. Do you want to say who it is or no?
I don't, because I don't like.
Okay.
I'm not that type of person. I
No,
don't know.
that's fair.
Like
Yeah.
more about the example, less about like putting a.
Yeah.
I don't want to expose.
No, that's fair.
But like, I literally said, I'm like, make sure you keep your head on a swivel, because other people who recognize this about you will give you opportunities to keep you around. Like, ask yourself, what do you want out of this game?
Yeah.
And know that you are absolutely getting opportunities because you deserve them, but make sure watch how you get what opportunities, who's like just certain stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that to me is such an important question that I didn't ask myself. I knew I wanted to travel and I knew I wanted to see the world and do comedy and be like the best that I could be, but that's so broad. It took me years until I finally was like, oh, what do I really want out of this?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I finally started to breathe for the first time. That's when I started to notice, I'm like, yo, I'm chasing this credit when I am the credit. Like, yes, they could put me in front of certain opportunities or whatever, but like, do I even want to go down that route? I've always been the anti-establishment guy. How come I never stopped to think about that for a real second? And I'm trying to chase the establishment. F the establishment, bro. Like, so I'll continue with this article. Do you have anything you want to say before? Because I've just been talking.
I think you want to. What do you actually want out of this? Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think that's with most things.
Yeah, it's a very and just general.
In general, and maybe I'm fortunate enough because I read a book. I read a book called "Start with Why." Right?
Oh, that's
right, and it's
exactly this.
Yeah, so the book is basically like, oh, people want to say, oh, I want to do this so I can get rich.
Yeah.
But why do you even want to be rich?
Bruh, that is literally the underlying. That is the underlying thing of me being like, are you a comedian or are you like?
Yeah.
Because most people don't get in it because they love comedy.
Yeah.
They get in it because they see it's a route to something.
To something else.
To something else.
Yes.
Fame, stardom, celebrity, attention, whatever, money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bruh, but again, that's my own little thing. And I've had to grow with that.
Yeah.
And before I used to actually be attached to that. I'm not even attached to that anymore. It's just like, again, we're on Black Zeus the show, just talking shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just love this.
Yeah.
I love it. So when I'm around people that I know don't actually respect it like that, it makes me feel a type of way.
I get it.
Yeah.
But like from my perspective, I was, like I said, I think I was fortunate. But I mean, I read a book. You know what I mean? Like
that's perspective, though.
I know, but I read the book, and it helped me to go into it with this mindset. So I'm not figuring it out later.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the book literally says start with why and then go from there. Because
I like that you even said that because you probably will feel less like you've wasted time.
I'm not, because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I know why I'm doing it. So when I know why I'm doing something, it makes it easier for me to do the thing. You know, if I'm like, if I know why I'm in comedy and like why I'm doing comedy, it makes it easier for me to drive all the way to Toronto for a minute 30 bucket show.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Whereas like someone that doesn't know, they're like, is it even worth it? But it's like, when you know why, it's like, yeah, it is worth it. So go do it.
Yeah, but also those things do change. Like as you're in it more.
As you're in it, but I'm not at that stage yet.
Exactly.
So like in my stage now,
that's one of the most important things. Yeah.
You know, you get good feedback for me and you get stage time. You get in front of an audience. So to me, it's worth it because I know why it's worth it.
That's why I think the studying part is so important. I love that he mentioned that. I literally studied, like, one of the things I realized going into it, so I told myself literally, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to pop until I'm 40, most likely.
Okay.
And I knew this was going to be a money pit. I feel like a lot of people really don't grasp just how much of a money pit comedy is, especially if you want to take it all the way.
Not a money pit, young Padawan. It's a wishing well.
That's a great way to look at it. That's a great way to look at it. I'm going to read one more of these. Not the next one, though, because that's specific to Chicago. Let me...
Ooh, what are some qualities you look when you're working with someone?
Yeah. I like people who are easy to work with, being able to go with the flow, no matter what that means. It's a live show, so sometimes everything won't go right. I think just being nice, that's a huge part of it. Sometimes comics aren't approachable people. I totally get that, but be nice. Also, don't make decisions without running shit by the club. Sometimes I've had comics that are that are the headliner. They'll just decide I'm putting this person on the show and not say anything. Great point. I'm sure once you're actually at a certain level that is irrelevant, but I'm sure the person still feels the type of way.
Ooh, here's a good one.
I know you're big on the business side of comedy. Why do you think that's so important for comics to learn? I think a lot of people ignore the business side of it when they get, and then they get in the ass for 12 years as they're like, why am I getting in the ass? It's like, dude, you're not paying attention to the business side of it. And the business side doesn't just mean Comedy Central or HBO. It could be your own personal business. Go look up how much Tim Dillon makes on Patreon. He doesn't have a TV show. Everything that he's gotten hasn't come his way. Yeah, he's on Rogan now, but he built himself up to get there. $93,000 a month just from his Patreon. There's things like this that are out there that you can build yourself. Study the business, because at the end of the day, you don't want a fucking job. Your goal is to live off comedy, whatever that means. There's so many different lanes in comedy that people get caught up in the idea of, okay, I'm a host, I'm a feature, I'm a headliner, then I'm a national headliner. That's their idea, but it doesn't work like that. There's all these different ways to make money. For some reason, comics are like the art. I'm all about the art, but you need to be able to support yourself to do this art. You don't want to be making shit on Etsy when you're 55. You want to fund your actual career using your career. The business side of everything. The business side is everything. Get great at your craft, but understand there are so many lanes where you can make money. That is an amazing, amazing way to just put that. We're gonna wrap that up.
Yeah.
But I even, you know what's super hard though?
What?
Getting a team. You know how hard it, like, you know, look how long it took for you to come around. I've had these trials with multiple people.
Yeah.
And it's just the dynamic isn't right, the timing isn't right, the same level of commitment isn't there. It takes so much. You know how many times I've tried to group my niggas together and be like, look at Kevin Hart, bro. He made it with his homies. Kevin is the lead, but he put every one of his friends on.
Yeah.
I've tried that with my friends, but everybody's wrapped up in their own life. And then again, it's not to the negative. Like, this isn't a negative statement. You're wrapped up in your own life and all these things, and they're not in the entertainment side of things. So they look at this as even more as a like pipe dream or just like far-fetched idea. It's like, now having seen people look at me like I'm Chappelle, like in my immediate community and stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I've just been consistent with it for 14 years. And now they've seen, like, especially when the Russell thing happened. I remember the first, I went to the farmer's market when we got back from Texas.
Yeah.
And I ran into somebody. She's like, oh my God, you even look like a celebrity now. I'm like, what? I'm like, how do people perceive the world, bro? Because but this is it. You know what I mean? And
you know what you should do? You should just only post those clips that just really.
I don't care.
No, it's
I'm
a
not,
joke. It's a
I
joke.
know, but like, bro. The art.
It burns.
The art. I don't like, but there are. For every one of me, there's 10 people that jump to that. I have so many names that would be like, yes, I am. And straighten up their back a little more, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm having supreme confidence in not just your skill, but who you are actually rids you of ego. Like, if knowing where you stand, what you stand for, what you want out of things, like, really deads all that stuff.
Yep.
And it allows you to look at people a lot more cleanly, you know what I mean? Like, without rose-tinted glasses on. Like, I actually see you.
Yep.
I see you maybe deeper than you see yourself, or when you do see yourself like this, it might actually make you tearful, fearful, or whatever. Like, because I've dealt with my traumas. I've looked in my shadows. Like, I've just dove in. Once you do that, man, like, bruh, come on, bruh.
Come on, bruh. Do the shadow work, bruh.
Bingo. Do the shadow work. Do you have any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, like I completely agree. Like in the beginning.
This is a 1997 movie trailer.
In the beginning, there was the cube. No, but I know there's not a lot of money in the beginning, and like you said, you're throwing in a lot of money. You're investing in yourself.
Yeah,
in the beginning, a lot more than people think. Like, oh, it's not worth that much investment, so then they stop because it's not worth it to them.
Yeah,
but I know how worth it is to me, which is why I'm okay throwing money in the well all the time. You know what I mean? So once again, I think figuring out the why is super important.
It might be the most important first step.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from starting.
and you, when we do these comedy interviews and stuff, every once in a while you hear like Russell literally said this. First thing I would ask, why?
Yeah. Jared said the same thing.
Jared said the same thing. I was going to say, yeah. Like,
same wavelengths.
It's, I want to just wrap this up with like, just put a ribbon on it with this Chappelle clip. Cause like one of the things that really formed my thing, like, bruh, when I'm saying I studied, it wasn't that I was just studying, the comedy side. There was aspects of the business side I was studying, especially once I got in. Every time I was at a show, I literally for years would just watch the producer, how they engaged with the audience, how they would like, and when I went back to shows, how they would build rapport and have returning customers. Like,
I would like to highlight, because I've been around a few shows, and the way I saw G running his show was fire.
Yes, he's with the people.
He pays like right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like so other people do that, but like he makes it a point like if I'm supposed to be running a good show, I should be able to pay you right now.
Correct.
Out of respect for your craft and your time.
Correct.
People are like, oh, I'll pay you in 2 weeks when the money comes in. What?
These are the people that you go out of your way to help.
Yeah.
And to just always show out for. Like, Salute G Gathiga. Go check out all his shows. But yeah, when I talk about like Patrice, all his Opie and Anthony tapes, I learned more from that about not just like the industry of comedy and show business, but about how to think about myself. Dude, this dude is a deep thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is what I really, because he would talk about just going through the motions and then apply that directly to the situations in show business, in comedy. So then once I actually got in, it's almost like I was going back. I was going back. It was like game tape. I'm like experiencing things that I'm like, I remember Patrice said something like this happened to him. And it was like, this is one of those things. This clip of Chappelle, if you haven't watched it, while it's still on YouTube, it's a really, really amazing, like a 47-minute. It was like, they did these things called Iconoclast, where they would put two icons together for an episode of a show. It was like on Biography TV back in the day. So they had Maya Angelou and Dave Chappelle do an episode together. So they had Maya and Dave just be in a room and just have a conversation, talk about life, art, all that stuff. And it was interwoven between, okay, sometimes it would show Maya's life, sometimes it would show what Dave was up to. And this was the first, or one of the first things I remember seeing from Dave after him leaving Chappelle's show and all that controversy. This is the first time I had ever seen a clip of a joke that he was telling about that exact direct experience. And this has always stuck out to me. How he describes, obviously this is a joke, but how he describes what that process was like for him. And to give you a bit of the backstory, obviously, if you don't know, Dave Chappelle's show was the most popular sketch show in history. They offered him $50 million to come back for season 3, but he was saying the contract came with a lot more, pretty much his soul, without saying that. And then he left to Africa, which became its own controversy. They tried to downplay it and make him a crackhead and all that in the news. And then he disappeared for 10 years to us. But he's a comic. There's stories of him literally taking speakers and stuff into the middle of the park and just doing live comedy shows for the people. Like, and he'd be doing this for years underground. Slowly started to make his way back out.
Underground parks.
Yeah. And then this is one of the first things that I saw where I saw him actually making a joke. And it's obviously just so hysterical, but damn, bro, it really, to me, encapsulates going the showbiz route. That's why that GM from Zanies, he's giving great advice, but I also appreciate him for being on the corporate side of the game, but still telling people to really assess what they want out of it.
Yeah.
Because if you just say, I need the accolades and I want the credits and da-da-da, you might end up like this. So we'll hit play on this and then we'll wrap the episode up. And I just want to until after he says the joke.
Maybe corporate America fucks with human beings like their products and investments. Maybe a motherfucker brings you into a room and says, this $50 million, this pile of money, it's all for you. And when you try to grab it, he just throws his dick right on top of it.
Bro. Pre-clone Chappelle right there. But that is a hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, what a take. But man, if that ain't one of the realest and just so sharp,
Yeah.
which is so Chappelle.
Crisp. Samurai sword.
Like samurai. And just as you go to reach for the money, they put the dick on it.
Boom.
But that's going to wrap it up for Indies Comedy Skreets and this episode of Black Zeus, the podcast. Before we get on out of here, Dante, do you have any final words for the people?
Read Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Great book.
All right. Yeah, just read. I'm just going to say just read. Where can the people find you?
You can find me online at Shedante, CHEZDANTE. Follow your boy.
Hey, and I'm AKA Black Zeus on all the socials, but right here's the place to be. And if you want to support us on the come up, go hit up the Patreon, AKA Black Zeus on there as well. I use my Instagram, AKA Black Zeus on all the stuff. Make sure you've hit subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us out on the come up. Thank you to all the recent people that have been subscribing. Thank you to all the people that are commenting, hate, love, whatever, who gives a shit. None of our opinions matter. But until next week, where we give you more of our opinions that don't matter, I hope you have a good one. I'm Black Zeus. This has been the podcast, Season 6, Episode 15. Peace. I can't even hit the button.
Hey, it's Hen Dog.
Black Zeus the Podcast Season 6, featuring Black Zeus and Dante, aka Black Zeus on YouTube, Patreon, and Instagram.